My name's Ivan Pope and I've written this book called Attention Deficit. It's about the first days of the internet. My book Attention Deficit is an attempt to write a little bit of history, the history of the very first days of the web, as the internet started to explode into human consciousness. Now it affects almost every single person on the planet, but in the beginning there was no one there. This is not the story of computer programmers, of hackers, of people who wired the planet together. It's the story of how the content came to be on the internet, how the web exploded and changed everyone's lives, how it provided a carrier for ideas that went on to change the world. This is a very personal story. It's the story of my life in the internet. It's the story of how I came to that place through punk and through art, and how I ended up as an internet millionaire. If I hadn't seen The Clash in the 70s, if I hadn't published a fanzine, if I hadn't interviewed and photographed bands, then I wouldn't have had the attitude that was needed when I went to art college. Without being an arrogant punk rocker, I don't think I could have done anything on the internet. You just had to get up and do it for yourself. That attitude took me into art school, and I ended up at Goldsmiths, where I met young British artists, Damien Hirst and his friends, and I fought with them and I fought with the college authorities. If I hadn't been writing about this new art world, I probably wouldn't have discovered computers and then networks. And if I hadn't discovered those computers, I wouldn't have found the internet when I did. This changed my life. I was so excited, I wanted to tell everyone what I'd found. And so I started a magazine called The World Wide Web Newsletter. I published my first issue in 1993, when there were fewer than 100 websites in the entire world. If I hadn't started the first cyber cafe, I probably wouldn't have become an internet entrepreneur. And if I hadn't become an internet entrepreneur, I wouldn't have had a company to sell just before the dot-com crash. If I hadn't done all of that, I wouldn't have this story of the beginning of everything to tell you. And if you don't support this book, that story will never get told. And considering what a pile of shit the whole online world has turned to recently, if I don't tell this story, then you'll never get to hear my apology for my part in the beginning. And that's what you really want to hear, isn't it? By the way, if you want to find out why this book is called Attention Deficit, you'll have to support it and read it. I'm working with Unbound to get this published because to me, Unbound are like the dream internet company, the sort of thing that I imagined right at the beginning.